The approach around the World Trade Tower, but we saw it as it smashed into the side.
What did you say to one another? What did you think?
We basically said we're getting out of here and ran downstairs. We couldn't get out the front door because of the smoke. By that time, the smoke was, it's like a very, very fine ash, and it was black outside. You couldn't see, and there was a lot of debris coming down. So we decided to go back in the building, sitting on an interior wall and wait, which we did until it cleared. And we tried to make our way out and around the corner to the East River where we could see some blue sky. And then we heard another loud crash, and I guess that's, it was my impression that there was a bomb. And then we saw the tower collapse as we were running down the block. And I ducked into a bank with a few other people from our building.
What a sight to see both those towers collapse. We go to Bob Schieffer in Washington for what's happening there, and particularly information on the Pentagon, which is still part of it, is a smoking ruin.
Well, Dan, you can see, and as I'm still at the same location I was when we last spoke, north of the
and police officers that were probably
have cordoned off the entire area surrounding it. The only vehicles passing through now are police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances, and construction vehicles like that. We just had a fleet of ambulances head into the scene. They were staged behind us here. They just went in, which suggests that perhaps they're getting closer to the base of the World Trade Center, where there might be many injured waiting to be rescued, in fact. And joining us now is a former detective with the New York City Police Department, worked with the Commissioner's Office. I know you're very familiar with crisis management. Tom Ruskin.
What are the possibilities that many people are still trapped in the debris?
There are people that are still trapped there, and there are parts of that area we can't get into right now because of the smoke condition and the fact that some buildings are still collapsing. We just got a report that 2 other smaller buildings in that area collapsed, including one that we were possibly in. So it's still a very dangerous situation for the firefighters and police officers that are there. But they're the best. I mean, they're the best in the world. And if whatever number can be saved, they will do it.
Mayor, you've just pointed out something that we were not aware of, that because of, when you have the 2 tremendous buildings, 110 stories high, both these buildings collapse, then there are buildings around these 2 twin towers that have collapsed.
And I was in one of them, 75 Barclay Street, and when the first tower collapsed, it created a tremendous smoke condition. It hit our building. We were trapped in our building for maybe 10, 15 minutes. So there are other buildings there.
Personnel, the city is on a high state of alert relative to the medical casualties that we may have.
Do we have to work under the assumption that this is not the end? Is that the way the police department and everyone, all the other agencies handle this?
Well, the military has gone on their highest state of alert. We don't know if it's over. We don't know. We know that all planes have been grounded throughout the country at this point in time, and thereafter each step that has been planned for will take effect.
A lot of people might say, well, New York City should have been ready for this. The police department, everybody else should have known that something like this might happen. Was the department prepared? Did it have a plan in place?
The city constantly trains and retrains. The Office of Emergency Management does nothing but train and retrain and get ready for something like this. But we live in a very free society where our gates are open, where people come in and visit. Terrorism has always been a possibility in the United States because we don't live under the tight control of other countries. So a plane hitting the World Trade Center or 2 planes hitting the World Trade was something that could happen. They are trained for it. I don't think that anyone would ever expect it to happen. 2 planes in one day in one city, another plane to hit the Pentagon, another plane to crash in Philadelphia.
All right, Tom Ruskin, thanks a lot for joining us. We're hearing that there's a run on a lot of grocery stores in New York City, Upper East Side in particular, where people are starting to panic and thinking they might not be able to get food and supplies and that sort of thing. And obviously the message is not to panic and not to take these kinds of actions. Also, I want to point out they're looking for blood. They need blood donors, and they're asking people if you're able to donate blood to go to a number of locations in New York City to do just that. So something that everyone should think about. Reporting live in Lower Manhattan, I'm Rick Leventhal. Now back to you.
All right, Rick, thanks very much. Let's get...
See, it's of Osama bin Laden, but did not take them seriously. Also, a news conference by airport officials is underway in Pittsburgh. The governor of Pennsylvania will be...
As the mayor of New York City, had you received information from intelligence agencies to be on any kind of special alert or special
no
lookout?
specific information of any kind, right up to the moment that it happened.
Didn't have anybody saying, listen, be on some kind of special alert because Osama bin Laden or somebody else may be striking?
Not other than what the situation has been for the last 3 or 4 years, where, you know, obviously given the tensions in the world, there's almost a continued alert, but nothing, no specific information, no warning of any kind. And I've checked both with the police department and the FBI, and they had no warning.
Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, I appreciate you speaking to us live on the telephone as we played some video.
I would just like to say to the people of New York and to the people of America that this country, the city of New York and the United States of America is much bigger and greater than this, and we're going to overcome this. We're going to get through it. We're going to overcome it, and we're going to prove that democracy and law is our future, not this kind of vicious, horrible, inhumane kind of terrorism.
Mayor Giuliani,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Dateline's Freeport, Louisiana, Barksdale Air Force Base. Air Force One is reported to have taken off from Barksdale Air Force Base, where we played a videotape what the president had to say there a short while ago.
Engulfed the entire financial district. You know, from 9 o'clock onward, and we were sitting on the side of the road. EMS workers were there administering oxygen to people, thinking that everything was okay. And then as they began to realize that the explosion might have caused so much trauma to both the World Trade Center that they would fall, then everybody just began to run because they saw that the building itself was actually going to fall. So all of the people that had gone to help out were then put in, you know, double danger, because you were then running, and the building literally came and fell, you know, over the entire financial district area. There was a complete nightmare, black smoke everywhere. People were running toward the Brooklyn Bridge, running, you know, away from the mayor's office, afraid that the falling part of the World Trade Center would hit other buildings, and that would, you know, cause a topple effect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harper, and thank God you're okay, and I hope that you'll be able to deal with all of this. We do appreciate it.
Injuries to very serious injuries. The hospital is very well organized. People are being triaged into the appropriate situations, whether it be a minor cut or...
Nada más que darte una versión oficial de la policía, te voy a decir nuestra experiencia.
And we have, from the police department, the fire department, the emergency services, the governor has alerted and put on standby the National Guard, and they should be able to relieve us later this afternoon. I believe that's going to be a number like 1,500, 1,700 National Guard. And we also have the urban search and rescue teams, 3 of them, that are coming to New York to help assist our police department and our fire department. So that's really the focus right now has to be.
I hate to
how many people can we rescue?
Right. I hate to wonder how many of your people, how many police and firefighters were there around the base of the Twin Towers when they began collapsing.
I am very worried about them, and you know, saw some of them rush in and go in, and was with them. We were in a building that was trapped for a while, so when we left, I could see that there were going to. There's no question there are going to be significant casualties to our emergency personnel. It's terrible.
What do you say to the residents of New York City right now? Clearly, Manhattan has been locked down. The transportation in and out is shut off.
First of all, anyone in southern Manhattan should just head north. Just get beyond Canal Street, even further north. Not only is it safer because the smoke can as many lives as possible to the rest of the people in the city of New York. Just pray, and things are safe and things are secure right now, and let's keep hoping and praying that the casualties are kept to the smallest number possible.
We've put out the appeal, Mr. Mayor, for blood donations from people nationwide, but what else can people do to be helpful?
Anyone that has emergency techniques or emergency expertise can volunteer. Volunteer at the local hospitals. Volunteer to give blood. We're gonna need blood. We have over 170 hospitals in the city of New York. We're going to utilize virtually every single one of them, and the hospitals in the surrounding areas. So anyone that believes that they can donate blood, I'll give.
That the plane that landed, it crashed in Pennsylvania, was most likely headed for the Capitol or White House. That's the operating theory of many of the people I've spoken to today.
Thank you very much, NBC's Tim Russert. The equation.
We carried a bunch of people that we found laying in the debris. It was complete darkness. We stumbled over some people. We picked them up.
You are watching NBC coverage of an attack on America. And good morning. I am Dan Green here at our studios here at KSBW. It is indeed a dark day for this country. We will rejoin network coverage in just a moment, but we do want to bring you up to date, if you are just joining us, into exactly what happened this morning. This is what we know. Shortly before 6 o'clock, our World Trade Center, you see one of the attacks there. This was a coordinated series of attacks. They brought down the twin 110-story towers. Both of the World Trade Center towers no longer exist at this time. Another plane slammed into the Pentagon today in Washington, bringing the seat of government itself under attack. One other hijacked plane also crashed, this one outside of Pittsburgh. These are the confirmed flights that we know that have crashed so far today. American Airlines Flight 11, it was a Boeing 767 en route from Boston to Los Angeles. It crashed into the World Trade Center. That had 81 passengers on board with 9 flight attendants and 2 pilots and a full tank of gas.
So if you can't even tell us to get out.